Hey guys, I'm FatBuddyCat, and this is a down and dirty Z50R. That time has finally come. Today, I'm going to try to start this mini bike. First thing I'm going to do is get at that drain plug and release whatever contents are inside. I had the heater sitting on this Lifan block for a couple hours now, so hopefully that loosened it up. We'll be able to see what comes out. This is what's going back in. 1.1 liters. It works out to a little under 37.2 ounces. I wish I was recording when I pulled the plug. It was like, it made a noise and everything. It came out like it was under pressure. It's just dribbling now, and I'm just going back with my hand, run it through a few kicks, cycling things around, and as you do that, it starts to dribble a little bit more. I'm going to get out as much as I can. I actually got a lot more out of there than I thought I would. Dump some out here so you can see it. Not too much. If we look inside, it definitely has a tint to it besides just the oil itself. So there is some sort of a contaminant floating around in there. It could be an additive. It could be something off of the clutch plates. Who knows? What we do know is it's no longer in our engine. It looks like oil up close. I don't see anything major. I wouldn't call it water. It kind of smells like some sort of a gear oil almost. They just scoop this stuff out of a big vat, I think, and into like a measuring cup, and then they pour it in a funnel right into the engine. I'll actually put a link to a really cool video about how they build these 125s and such in the description. That's out of there. And this will be going in. I'm going to have to get something to measure out our 37 ounces. This Maxima 1040 is a 4T oil, alright? This stuff is specific for motorcycles with wet clutch systems. To measure it out, I'm using another container that was empty. If you look on the side, to get you in focus, we got that glare over there. You can see there's some measurements. I'm at just over 28 ounces. Our total is going to be just over 37. So I'll get this in, and then we'll need 9 more ounces. I have my 31 point almost 2 ounces of oil in the crankcase. check the old dipstick. Yep, that's full. I mean, I know it went in, right? So, as long as it's not pouring out the bottom, I still know what I got. Try to tell that to your friends on Marketplace. I'll clean this up, cap it off for next time, and let this simmer for a few minutes. One of these two hoses might be the reason for that pressure buildup. That's because one of them goes to the crankcase vent. And that, my friends, is way down back here. It's really hard to point at. Oh boy, let me see if I can get you some light. Oh, it won't let me. There it is. Right here. You see this? There's a cap on it. That is the crankcase vent. So every time this thing went through a cycle and stroked, the air has nowhere to go except for the exhaust when the valve is open. If the exhaust valve hasn't opened yet, then you have pressure that builds up inside. The barb that is under here is what helps relieve that pressure. So somehow I'm gonna have to get that cover off and then figure out which one of these fits on. Honestly, I think it's this one, and we're gonna have to add a filter. Here's that rubber cap, and down here, ta-da, getting better at that. You can see exactly what I did. I ran that hose that had the bend on the end, the one that didn't have the filter, right onto the barb, and then out through the hole that looks like this on the other side. Here we are on the other side, coming out. I went up and then through this other hole. I think that is for a side plate. I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to run it somewhere. We're going uphill, so if oil were to come out under pressure, it would only make it so far and then return back to the case. That's good. That's what we want. We do have to put a filter on the end of this so that debris doesn't get in and clog it. As oil mists over time, right? And you add dust to mist, it coagulates quickly. I still can't find any type of a vent or another barb that would warrant this EPA meddling, so I think we're going to see if we can't snag that filter. I snagged it alright. Came right off with the clips on there. Can't really see through it. There's something in between. I'm not sure if it matters what direction it goes. We're gonna go this way. I'll put this on the end. It's gonna fit like a glove. Maybe I'll add a zip tie. I could try to get one down in there, but I think if we attach the hose to this with a zip tie. It'll keep it from pulling off that barb. I don't think I'm going to need one there. If I have one on the end and then this thing cinched onto something. Almost looks factory. Couple zip ties, holding it on, comes up, and then I have one zip tie pulled tight, crimping the hose onto the filter, and then one more zip tie loosely bound to my wiring harness. It should be safe up there. Now we're going to hook up the carb. I ended up finding that rubber O-ring seal that went inside the petcock that came with this tank. It's actually a lot wider than this one. It's tight to the tube, and the tube in this one has a filter. We're a little snug back here, and we're gonna have to make a transition from, you know, this barb to that barb via this fuel line. It used to run downhill. Gravity and volume are definitely in our favor. What I'm wondering is if I should install one of these. It's got the one in there. It's a brand new tank, but it would be nice. We might as well try, right? It's gonna have to be, goes this way. It's going to be difficult to make this turn. We don't want to pinch the line. I might leave it out. We'll see what happens here. I had to hit that filter with the shrink gun right quick, and then I was able to make that loop. No problem. We'll see if it works. If it's too restrictive, we should know. Next filter is the air filter. Supposedly, this is the right size. Realistically, it's giving me some trouble. When I try to fit it on, it is super tight no matter what, and if I do manage to get it all the way, it wants to slide off really easily. It has a good amount of rubber, and I'm wondering if I could remove a little bit and then just you know, depend on the clamp to seal the deal. So far, so good. Even without the clamp, you can tell it's better than it was before. I tried to keep a nice even ring all the way around. I vacuumed the filter out, the end of my carburetor, and everywhere that dust may have gone. I'm still gonna wash this out with soap and water and then dry it thoroughly. As soon as it was dry, I whacked it with some K&N air filter oil. Over on the other side, I just pulled the spark plug. I have it hooked into the boot. It's a non-resistor type up in there. I'll show you after, but she's brand new. What we're after is spark. So get this thing kind of near something metal. That looks good. Make sure that we're in the on position and give it a crank. Whoop. You see it? Ooh, that was a good one. Okay, now we're going to flip the switch and try again. You see that? I think it came away from the metal. That's weird, huh? So, between this switch and that plug, when you turn this off, it still holds a charge. Ooh. I'm going to pull that plug out, so I'll show you what that looks like too. Go figure. It's an LG A7TC. Just wrote that down. Make sure to grab a spare. I just turned as tight as I could with a screwdriver. Should be alright. Put a little fresh gas in the tank. Not too much. We want to make sure that the petcock doesn't leak. We'll be checking the carburetor and the fuel line as well. Alright. We're in the off position. I don't feel any fluid. We'll go straight to reserve because there's not much there. There it comes. Into the filter, out of the filter, into the bowl. The bowl is filling. I have the overflow line over here. I didn't check if the drain was tight. I probably should have. I don't see anything coming out. Make sure we're not pinched, which we're not. Okay. So we should be sealed up good. Let that simmer for a minute. I'm sitting on the mini bike and I'm rocking it back and forth, making sure that I'm in neutral. If I pull the clutch and hit the shifter up, I hit first, there's second, third, and fourth. If I pull the clutch in fourth, I can slide it, I can move it, alright? The wheels are spinning. I might be able to show you without any weight on it. Okay? So, this is, in fact, see, now it's harder. It's disengaging the clutch. Roll it. Can't roll it as easy. What we need to do is get this thing started. There's neutral. And let the clutch disc get lubricated and probably wear a little bit. I have faith that it's all going to work out. Neutral. Close. I have to make an adjustment on the carb itself. Alright, so that's not working. PCC125 that I had, and right now I'm running at 90 on the main. I'm going to turn the idle down a little bit. I have a couple turns out over on the other side. During my adventures, I learned this is only an air adjustment. Probably bring that idle down a little bit more. I gotta get some new plugs so that I can really check the main, but I don't think we're gonna have to go up too much further if we do. Yeah, buddy. Okay, now that we know it idles and it revs up, we can check the clutch. We want to make sure that it engages and disengages. That way when we put it in gear, it doesn't just take off. Right now, we're in neutral. The brakes work. Fuel's on. Switch is on. We shouldn't need the choke. Looks comfortable. All right. Plug in. First gear. Let it out and give it a little gas. I'll try it without gas first. feel safer. Here's how this went down. The stock jet for this carburetor is right here. It's a number 82 and it has a Y on it. I knew from testing it that it seemed just a little bit on the lean side. I was getting a high idle, and when I tried to make my adjustments, nothing was agreeing with me. I had this pack of jets sitting around. It goes from, what did it say, 78 to 98. It's missing a few in between, but apparently they have the good ones. I'm at a number 90 right now, and this is what the plug looks like. Alright, this is not an accurate tune. So we might be under, we might be over. I think we're close. I can go a little bit up and a little bit down on the main. When I got to measuring the mains, I said, hey, well, I have a rich idle. What can I do about that? I measured the idle jet. It's the smaller of these two. So that's the stock one. It also has a Y on it. Duh. Right there. Y35. I checked inside of a PZ19 because that is what I originally bought those jets for. Lo and behold, the pilot jet that's in these Chinese PZ19s that I get are the same size as the pilot jet in the PZ22 that comes with this Lifan engine. Why does that work out so great? Well, these have a 5mm head, 5mm threads. A lot of them are 5 and 6 on the threads, weird stuff like that. They don't fit. It would take me about a month to get a pack of these, and this was a complete guess as to whether it would work or not, and it did. So time and money. The one PZ19 carburetor that I had came with a carburetor tuning guide. These tune out a little bit differently on the mixture, but the biggest thing I took from that was to check the needle settings. Every time I changed the jet, which was 4 or 5 times, I would start in the middle and then move 2 down to the bottom. If that didn't work, I would try going to the top. And if neither one of those worked, with adjustment to the air, then I just moved on to the next one. Right now, we're on the middle setting in there. I just ordered up a 4-pack of these plugs. That way, we can get her dialed in. Up next, we're going to go wide open throttle. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.
I want you to stay.